Don't forget to subscribe!
Hey everybody, it's me, Natalie the Lifelight, and last time we reviewed Princess Tutu and Tokyo Mew Mew Power, and now we are on to the last anime's 15th anniversary, and this is for the voice of Jimmy Neutron and Debbie Derryberry, Zatch Bell. This anime was released in 2005 and ended in 2008 with a cliffhanger in episode 104 with Zatch and Kyo finding Zatch's twin brother Zeno. But first things first. Before we continue, I'm going to let Carla explain more. Okay, thank you, Natalie. The Teen Pikachu review series is where me, Jade, Nina Venus, Fire Mew Mew, Narwhal, and Baker, Valkyrie, and the others look at shows of the past and see if they're ready to see if they hold up today for your binge watching. And much like EXO's remake or rebreak, which is a review segment where he looks at the classics of the past and to discuss how well they hold up today with a special emphasis on how well subsequent significant re-releases recreate and improve upon the original experience. Subsequent significant re-releases include remakes, later generation ports, remasters, reboots, reimaginings, and enhanced imports released one generation later. While cross-platform, on the other hand, is about contrasting contemporary releases and includes cross-console parts in different games of the same name, either of which releasing around the same time. The keyword is contemporary and has everything to do with expectation. Here's a good example. If a game launches on PS4 and is released on Xbox One a year later, we wouldn't expect new graphics, sound, story differences, etc. Let us remind you that Team Pikachu Studios has been revealing multimedia content since day one. Take me Lollipop as an example. And now let's ask ourselves two questions. One, how does Zatch Bell hold up today as one of the first time that VIZ Media and Toei's first English dub? And two, how did it perform during its run from 2005 through 2008? Without further ado, this is Zatch Bell, VIZ Media, and Toei's first collaboration project. If you're wondering about who Makoto Kawada or Makoto Raikou, he is a manga artist known for creating the Zatch Bell franchise. And starting off as assistant for Kazuhiro Fujita on his manga, Yushio and Tora, he began creating several one-shots for the weekly Shonen Sunday Shonen manga anthologies such as Birdman, about a young pilot, Hiro Baban, about a cheerful but weak superhero, and Den My Blade, about a teenage medicinal exorcist, of which he created both a one-shot and a two-part story. And by 1999, he had created the series Newtown Heroes, which was published in Shonen Sunday Super, a seasonal publication featuring upcoming manga artists and one-shots from the Sunday book. That is correct. It was first known as a manga, and it was later adapted into an anime TV series produced by Toei Animation. And the series aired for 150 episodes on Fuji TV from April 2003 to March 2006. In addition to an array of the licensed franchise, the franchise also spawned a series of video games and two animated theatrical films. And VIZ Media licensed both the manga and anime series for English language localization in North America in 2005. But only 25 of the volumes of the manga were published until 2009. The anime series ran in the United States on Cartoon Network's Toonami and Maguzi programming blocks from 2005 to 2007 for 77 episodes, and in Canada's Live TV's Bionics programming block all the way from 2005 to 2008. However, in total, 104 episodes were dubbed in English. Well, actually, the manga had over 23.8 million copies in circulation, including digital copies as of this year. In 2003, the series won the 48th Shogakukan Manga Award for the shonen category, and the manga has received generally mixed reviews from critics, and it was praised for its unique characters, humor, and overall concept. But it was panned for its plot and art style, and reviews of the anime adaptation were somewhat negative, with criticism largely focused on the visuals, graphical violence, and voice acting, particularly for the English dub. And the sequel to the original manga began digital distribution a few months ago, which is March 2022.
Great job. Now let's get on with the plot.
Ah, spoiler alert!
Adult, there's a problem. Please click on the pin comment to skip ahead to the characters and personalities.
Let's take a look at the synopsis, aka the plot. While the anime adaptation covers most of the premise, it observes changes in much of the manga's perspective, and they include additional subplots and the characters not featured in the original story. And certain scenes and key events are also altered and chronically rearranged. For instance, Zatch and Kyo first learn about Xeno from another Mamoto they encounter, rather than directly from Tia, as in the manga. Although she and Megami corroborate the sighting later on. Ponygon also appears earlier in the anime's timeline than the manga's. Deviations in the plot are more pronounced during the climatic fight against Fado in the third and final season. In particular, Kyo's death does not occur, and Xeno never repents, even when he returns to the Mamoto world. And as a result of the changes, some Mamoto who lose out in the manga survive up to this point, and the anime skips the events involving Clear Note and leaves the demise of most of Zatch's main allies and any remaining Mamoto unresolved. And the series closes with an epilogue showing Zatch and Brago preparing to battle each other as the last two Mamoto standing, with a winner not revealed. As the cliffhanger, on the other hand, it actually shows Kyo and Zatch finally finding Xeno, which means that there was only 104 episodes total in the English dub, leaving out 46. Okay, now the setting of the plot takes place during the modern times in which mystical creatures with supernatural powers called Mamoto descend to our home planet Earth from the parallel Mamoto world. And every 1,000 years, 100 Mamoto are sent to compete in a tournament for the kingship of their world. And each Mamoto carries a spellbook that seals away their powers and requires a human companion to read aloud in order to cast them in the form of their spells. But only one human is allowed to read from that Mamoto's book, whereupon he or she becomes its book owner and partner. And spells cast by the Mamoto produce a variety of effects, which is very nice. And along with its direct attacks and defenses, there are also spells which trigger a Mamoto's special ability that can temporarily enhance its strength, give them a secondary form of fighting, create a barrier, and render the enemy immobile, or empower an object that they carry, and this is rare among Mamoto. And spells in each book are typically different than each Mamoto, but there are others that produce identical spells, and the human and their Mamoto usually start out with one spell, but they get more through experience and hard work, kind of like how a Pokemon gains experience points, and they learn new moves as they grow. And additionally, the spellbook responds to the user's strong emotions, so that a spell may be generated with greater energy and fervor. And finally, the Mamoto tournament involves eliminating opponents, which is achieved by burning their spellbook, and once it's burned, the Mamoto that's possessed all claims have been lost as king, and it's returned to the Mamoto world. And the last one standing without their book destroyed becomes the Mamoto king for the next 1,000 years. I think it's pretty cool, though.
Indeed, ladies. Now let's get on with the characters and their personalities and power. First up is Kyo Takamine and Zatch Bell. And they are the main protagonists of the series. Kyo is a genius 14-year-old high school student with an IQ of over 180. And his classmates eventually shunned him due to his high intelligence, causing him to develop an introverted and apathetic demeanor to the point where he skipped school on a regular basis. And one day, Zatch, a cheerful and amnesic boy, is sent by Kyo's father to live with Kyo. And Zatch's personality slowly influences Kyo, causing him to become more outgoing and friendly, and allowing him to befriend many people during the course of the series. Zatch's power is based off of lightning, and his most powerful spell allows him to create a huge electrical dragon.
Next up, we got Parko Fulgore and Kanchome, and they are friends and allies of Kyo Takamine and Zatch Bell. Fulgore is a famous superstar and film hero in Milan, Italy, with his two hit songs, Hey Hey Let's Dance All Day, and Although appearing perverted, cowardly, and weak, Fulgore is a person with high moral standards and is insightful than he seems. In the past, he was short-tempered and vicious, who was feared in town due to his ruthless nature. And his parents threatened him with a shotgun to leave home out of fear. And Fulgore actually later changed his personality, actually watching a hippopotamus noxpecker living in mutilism developed his comedic personality. As for Kanchome, his personality tends towards childish and abrasive, often crying and whining like an infant, and he gratefully admires Fulgore, believing him to be invincible, and his power is based off of transformation and illusions, and he later gains the ability to create clones with inhuman strength with a spell that can trap his opponents in an illusionary world, giving them full control over their senses.
Next we have Megami and Tia. Megami and her partner, Tia, are known as Kyo in Japan and are friends and allies of Kyo Takamine and Zatch Bell. Both Megami and Tia have expressed romantic interest in Kyo and Zatch respectively. Megami is a famous Japanese teen idol and pop singer who spends most of her time working, and Tia is a young girl who believed no one could be trusted in a Mamoto tournament after being attacked by a friend of hers in the Mamoto world. When Kyo and Zatch saved Megami and Tia from an attack by the same Mamoto, Tia begins to trust others once more and allies with Kyo and Zatch in order to make sure the Mamoto world will be ruled by a kind king. Tia's spells most likely consistently reveal that they are defensive and regenerative spells which are used to support and heal their allies. Next we have Taft and Ponygon. Taft is an engineer from Germany working on projects in Japan, and he was introduced further in a series and was revealed to be the partner of the small horse Mamoto Ponygon. And Ponygon looks like a small horse but has the personality of a dog and can only communicate by bleating like a sheep. And because of this, Ponygon is unable to communicate his real name, Schneider, and is given the name Ponygon by Kyo Takamine. In the Mamoto world, Ponygon hated other Mamotos after watching his father work as a riding animal and isolated himself from others. Zatch eventually befriended Ponygon after they saved Ponygon's father from a poisonous snake bite. Ponygon's spells give him armor, increasing his speed and power with each spell, and he also gains the ability to manipulate fire and the ability to fly. Next we have Sherry Belmont and Brago. And as for Sherry, she comes from an abusive background from a wealthy, rich French family, raised by a mother who only cared about the family name. Sherry attempted to commit suicide by jumping off a bridge, but was saved and befriended by a poor girl named Coco, her first and best friend. And during the events of the Mamoto battle, Coco became brainwashed by her Mamoto partner, Sophis, and destroyed the town. And Sherry then meets her Mamoto, Brago, and teams up with him in order to save Coco. And Brago has a rough antisocial attitude, but is kind underneath. Upon saving Coco, Brago threatens Zophis into erasing Coco's memories of the time she spent with Zophis in an act of mercy. And Sherry promises Brago that she will make him the Mamoto King. And it was revealed that Brago's spells are based off of the manipulation of gravity, giving them the ability to increase gravity in a certain area or fire in a gravitational well from his hand. And speaking of which, this is Coco and Zophis. Coco is Sherry Belmont's first and best friend who saved Sherry's life when she attempted to commit suicide, and she lives a life of poverty and was accepted to a university through a full scholarship. And therefore after, shortly, Coco meets her Mamoto partner Zophis, who brainwashes her into doing his bidding, and then he starts to build his own army of Mamotos by freeing them from 1,000 years ago from stone and brainwashes the descendants of the Mamoto's partner. As Kyo, Zatch, and the other Mamoto invade Zophis' hideout, he is confronted by Sherry and Brago and is eventually defeated. Threatened by Brago, Zophis undoes his control on Coco and erases her memories of the Mamoto battles. And once that was done, Sherry has Zophis' book burned. And Zophis' spells are based off of combustion and explosion.
Next up, we have Lori and Kolulu. Lori is a teenage girl who is constantly home alone due to both of her parents working, and she comes upon her Mamoto Kolulu in the streets and takes her in as a little sister. And when she reads a spell from Kolulu's book, Kolulu loses her timid and kind personality and gains a merciless and bloodthirsty one. Her body then grows until she gains metallic claws.
When a transformed Collab enrages Kyo and Zatch in battle, Collab accidentally injures Lori and uses her willpower to revert to normal. She explains that personality was instilled in her since she refused to join the Momoto battles. She asks Zatch to burn her book and become the king in the Momoto world and prevent from what happened to her from ever happening once more, instilling him in the idea to become a kind king, a goal he has for the rest of the series. And Lori later made another appearance giving a pep talk to Zatch before his and Kyo's duel with Apollo and Rotom. And Kyo sees that he is doing well with Collab and went back to the Momoto world. Though Collab's alternate form spells revolve around her claws, her true spells are revealed to be based off of protection.
Next up we have Apollo and Ropes. Apollo is an heir to a successful American business company and is traveling around the world before being instated as the head of the company, and he's also the replacement for Gem. And he meets the Momoto Ropes on his way, and they begin traveling together, defeating the Momotos when challenged. And while traveling to Japan, the pair battle Zatch and Kyo before leaving. In Holland, they encounter Dufort and Zeno and are defeated with Rope's book being burned, and Kyo was informed of what happened to Ropes during his next encounter with Apollo. And during the pair's defeat, Apollo returns home to run the company and uses his resources to assist Kyo and his friends whenever possible, like getting those who were paired with the ancient Momotos back to their respectful cities. And Rope's spells are based on the manipulation of ropes and chains. Another minor character that was seen is Lupa and Purdio. And she has a hideous face, and she treats her Momoto, Purdio, as her son who died from a heart defect. And he is an arrogant and bratty Momoto in princely clothes and likes to use his regal appearance to show a strong bond, despite being extremely weak. And he befriends Kanchome, and they both have a good friendship together. Next we have Lien and Wanrei. Lien, known as Li Yan in Japan, is a Hong Konger girl who was introduced after being restricted from dating by her crime boss father, Li Akron, known as Li Hudlong in Japan. And she later fell in love with her Momoto Wanrei, known as Wang Lei in Japan. And after discovering that Li Akron noticed that their relationship, he captured Wanrei and sent Li En to Japan. And she runs into Kyo and Zatch and asks for their help in rescuing Wanrei, and after doing so, the Akron allows Lien and Wanrei's relationship to continue after witnessing his feelings. And Wanrei's spell is based off of martial arts and combined with the ability of summoning ethereal forms with the white tiger.
And the best for last, Dufort and Zeno Bell.
Dufort, also known as Duflo in Japan, was a child who was sold by his mother to scientists who wanted to study his ability, dubbed as answer talker. And after finishing their experiment, they left Dufort left to die, but is saved by his Momoto partner Zeno Bell, known as Zeon Bell in Japan. Because of the scientist's treatment, Dufort gains an apathetic personality and harbors a deep hatred against humanity. And he journeys with Zeno to see things that interest him, and Zeno is Zatch's twin brother. Zeno was envious that Zatch was bestowed with the power of Bao and lived away from his castle while he was forced to endure torturous training set up by his father, the Momoto King. When seeing Zatch's name on the participating Momoto battle list, Zeno aims to make Zatch suffer the same way that he had. And when confronting Zatch inside Fado, Zeno accidentally frees Zatch's memories in the Momoto world, which he had stolen prior, and helps Zatch discover Zatch, which had also had a life of suffering. And after Zatch defeats Zeno, he apologizes to Zatch and gives Zatch the missing piece of Bao. And that was not shown in the English version because it ended on a cliffhanger, which was kind of a shock. And as you can see, the English dub of Zatch Bell, like Save Me Lollipop and Mew Mew Power, the Fortunes Entertainment dub of Tokyo Mew Mew, it ended after 104 episodes because it was due to merchandise and due to Konami on Cartoon Network coming to an end in 2008. And thus it left on a cliffhanger with 46 episodes undubbed. And due to Mr. Raiku's hand injury lawsuit with ShowPro, Toei canceled it, in which the show ended after the match of Zatch versus Zeno. So if you want to finish the story with Zatch and Kyo versus Brago and Sherry,
please read the manga after watching episode 150 in subtitles. Please look forward to the next review, which is Kami-sama Kiss.
Thanks for watching, everybody! What do you think? If you appreciate it, please be sure to super smash that like button, and also be sure to follow my social media platforms in the description below, and the Team Lifelight's fandub channels, and let's make sure that it all goes well. Like I said, my social media platforms are Instagram, Pikachu Sonic 222 at DeviantArt, and please be sure to leave a comment below and give us your open-minded thoughts. And we here at Team Lifelights do not allow any trolls or haters allowed. Or otherwise, Ren Hoek from Comedy Central's The Ren and Stimpy Show will haunt you down till the ends of the Shadow Realm. Please be sure to subscribe to our channels and click the notification bell. You'll never miss a video the second it goes live on YouTube. Smartphone users, please press the button down there. And PC and laptop users, please be sure to click the subscribe button. With all that said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!